Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Spell Basketball. My name is Aslan Williams, and I have a very special guest today. I got my guy, Justin Adams. How you doing today, Justin?
Doing well, doing well. You got to forgive me. I may have some kids trying to run through here. So it's kind of like Minnesota's defense yesterday. They could just be all over the place at one time. So hopefully they don't come in too much today.
It's all good, man. It's live. You might hear my dog barking. You never
That's
know.
right.
It's all good. It's all good. But my man, thank you so much for joining the show today. For those of you all who do not know Justin, Justin is the Denver Channel 7 sports anchor for ABC News out here in Denver. And so how you doing today, though, Justin?
Doing good. No, I don't want to correct, but let me go help you with one thing. I'm at Channel 4 now. So at CBS Colorado, news, sports, whatever needs to be done.
Yes.
But the other part of the blessing is being able to do play-by-play work with the Pac-12 network, Mountain West Conference, as well as from a faith perspective on Sirius XM with Holy Culture Radio and a show called The Fix Radio Show. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble do the sports and faith report with them every day. So it's a blessing to be a part of that. And also I've been a part of Channel 7 too. So I've been all over the place. It's a true blessing to be able to do this.
That is, and look, correct me, please do. I'm not I am wrong. Please correct me. So thank you for that. So over at Channel 4 now.
Okay. Channel 4, yes, sir. Yes, CBS Colorado to be exact. Yes.
CBS Colorado. There we go. All right, man. Look, I just don't forgive me. I just got back in Colorado. I was still trying to get back to the news stations and everything.
No worries.
But before we get started, before we have our conversations today, as always, we have our question of the day. Okay. And so, Justin, you can chime in on this if you know the answer, my man.
Okay.
The first question that we have for today, okay, is who was Kobe Bryant originally drafted by?
Charlotte Hornets, I would say 15th pick in 96.
I believe you're. I think it was the 13th, but
13th. It was one of those two.
Between 13 and 15.
You know what I call that? I call that a steal. That's what I call that. Either way,
steal. Absolutely, that's an absolute steal. But yes, Justin, you are correct. It was the Charlotte Hornets who Kobe Bryant was originally drafted by in the 96 draft. Now, I got to clarify that it was 13th through 15, 13th through 15.
You know, with the wonderful thing called the internet, we could always find out who, when Kobe Bryant was drafted,
Yeah, we can definitely.
We're gonna look at this up,
Google is absolutely, almost automatic.
The main word is almost. You know that thing got some nonsense locked up in there.
Man, I gotta make sure I'm not
13th. 13th, by the way.
Yep, 13th. Okay, I thought it was 13th, but I was like, he might be right with the 15th, but I thought it was the 13th pick. So there we go. All right. Well, Justin, let's go on and hop into this, man. So I know it's a little rough day for us here in Denver.
Little.
It's a little rough for us here in Denver.
Goodness.
But let's go on and hop into it. The Timberwolves decided that they wanted to come out and play in the second half last night, and they advanced to the Western Conference Finals. So, Justin, what was your take on that game last night? Game 7 in Denver. Denver up 15 and a half, gets 22 minutes into the third, blew a 20-point lead. What was your take on that game?
Well, first of all, let's go give props to Minnesota. I don't ever want to be a person who doesn't give props where props is due. Minnesota won this game. As much as a collapse it was for the Nuggets, Minnesota took this game in the third quarter, and they were able to force some turnovers. They were able to win the game from there. Several times, Jamal Murray, for as great as he was in the first half, he was stripped several times in the second half, especially when you think about the clinching basket where Anthony Edwards hit a wide open three in the corner, coming off of getting the ball stolen by Mike Conley. So when you think about different things like that, Anthony Edwards with a couple of steals late in the third quarter, you take that 20-point lead and you were able to will it down all the way to 1. And then going into the fourth quarter, you were able to go and get the lead. Give a big shout out to Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert with several huge offensive rebounds over the 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic. Every 50-50 ball in the second half went the way of Minnesota. And when you look at these two teams, they're so evenly matched. That's what these games come down to. You know about that playing basketball. Anytime in sports where you're so good, both of these teams, you have the feeling that they're going to win the championship if they get past this round. And it doesn't matter if you're playing at home, road, if you're playing at a neutral site. one team wants it more, and it showed that Minnesota wanted it more. They executed better in the end. Their defense was just flat out better in the second half for as good as the Nuggets was in the first half. And that's the reason why Minnesota will be hosting the Western Conference Finals, is because they were able to do the small things and the Nuggets didn't get it done.
I absolutely agree with you, Justin. Like I was almost certain we were gonna win that. Like I was like
Right.
certain we were gonna win that game. But like you said, halfway through that third quarter, it was just like, we got the ball to Jokic. I think it was on three or four possessions in a row, and he just did not knock down the shots. Again, Anthony Edwards' defense stepped up tremendously in that last few minutes of the third quarter, and definitely in the fourth quarter. And he alluded to that, after the game. He said, I can score the ball, but I'm not just a one-dimensional player. He said, he needed to play defense. He said, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, they stepped up big. Gobert hitting that Jokic shot over Jokic. I mean, I couldn't believe that. That was just ridiculous.
There's certain shots you look at, and when that went in, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a good day, guys. I don't know if this is going your way. When Rudy Gobert is hitting shots like that, I don't know.
Absolutely. That was very frustrating, but he showed up when he needed to. And, Ant didn't have that big of a game, starting off in the first half. But he hit those two big threes. He hit that three at the end of the third to bring them in with, I think it was one or two. And then that three to pretty much that three in the corner pretty much sealed the game last night.
Yeah.
And I think for the Nuggets, I had never really seen such a collapse, like offensively, in these last two games, where just none of the shots were falling. And as you alluded to in the beginning, Murray had a great first half, but it just seemed like, Michael Porter couldn't get his shots going. Jokic had that stretch where he missed about 7 shots in a row. Gordon wasn't really a factor offensively yesterday as much as he had been in the series. And so that was a tough loss. But like you said, giving props to the Timberwolves, they did not quit. They didn't give up. They had everything that they needed to do in that final quarter that got them over the hump. And that, like you said, that's why they'll be hosting the Western Conference Finals this year.
Yeah, and also when you look at the Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. I mean, before you even get to MPJ, because it's easy to go to get on him, and trust me, we will. The Nuggets only had 2 players who scored in double figures. Jamal Murray had 35. Nikola Jokic had 34. The next nearest scorer was Michael Porter Jr. with 7 points. Then you look at the bench. Christian Brown had 5 points. That was the bench scoring. So when you look at Nikola Jokic playing 47 minutes, only have a 1 minute of rest, when you look at the missed rebounds, the missed opportunities, and then you look around and say, okay, who was that other guy who was at least going to be in double figures? You didn't have one. I mean, just think about how different this game would be. There's one possession in particular where the Nuggets are up 9 and Minnesota's on their run. It's 59-50 with about 6 minutes to go. And Michael Porter Jr. has a wide open three from the top of the key. And there's a part where Jamal Murray is in the corner and he's pointing to, hey, swing the ball to KCP, who will swing the ball then to Jamal Murray for a wide open three in the corner. But then Michael Porter Jr. takes the three. No problem. If you're going to take the three, you got to make it. And it hits off the side of the backboard. Like it hits off the corner of the backboard, right? Totally misses the rim. Timberwolves come back down. They do the same exact thing, except this time, they have the same situation. But this time, Mike Conley is able to go and hit his three-pointer wide open in the corner. And that's the difference between this game. You could be looking at a 12-point lead, or you were looking at a 6-point lead. Right. And that's the way that this thing just continued to snowball. And once the Nuggets try to go and get a hold of this game again, they weren't able to do so. And so it's a tough loss. It's one of those losses that it is a collapse. I mean, there's no other way to look at it, especially when you say, hey, this is the prime years for Nikola Jokic, right? And when you have a guy who's a 3-time MVP, and when you have an opportunity like this, and you're at home in a Game 7, you can't give up those opportunities. And that's one that the Nuggets did. And they're going to hurt for this for a long time. And hopefully they'll be able to recover from this. But history shows that sometimes you don't. You just don't. And you hope that the Nuggets could be able to do so again because they still have that championship roster.
Absolutely. And, one of the things, Justin, I think that showed yesterday, and then we'll move on to the next topic. But one of the things I think that showed yesterday was how much we miss Bruce Brown as well.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Yes. I think we miss Bruce Brown tremendously. Not only is he aggressive and super energized offensively, but he's also a good defender as well. So, again, tough loss for Denver, but I do think that we need to do something and go look for some pieces for our bench. So that was the one thing I was worried about all season, was like, will our bench come through?
Well, it showed it didn't. Let's just cut to the chase. The bench didn't, right? But the reality is that at some point, the guys that you drafted, your young guys, have to go and step up. And the only guy who really played, who was what we would consider a young guy, was Christian Brown. That's the only guy who played and played considerable minutes. But then you look at Peyton Watson. He was taken out the rotation, I would say game 2, maybe game 3. He was completely out the rotation. Jalen Pickett. You look at the rest of the guys that you have. Julian Strother, right, a rookie. He wasn't in the rotation, but he's a really good shooter. So one of those guys, hopefully 2 of those guys, will be able to grow and mature. And you say, well, you may miss out on, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He could leave because he has a player option. Well, then who do you put in the starting lineup? Do you put Christian Brown there? If you put Christian Brown there, then again, that's another piece that started off on your bench who is now a starter. So somebody is going to have to step up. Hopefully 2 of those guys can become regulars on this team. And look, this is still, again, a championship roster. There's talk right now saying, hey, just from the media, you should trade Michael Porter Jr. I will say this, is that I would run this back one more time. Right. And I would see what you could do with MPJ. And I would put him more into the offense, ingrain him more into the offense and not just in the corner. And he needs to grow offensively. He needs to grow defensively. His growth will be what will take this team back to the championship and be that type of roster again, or him being stagnant as a player will have this team being knocked out earlier than expected in the postseason.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you. I agree with you so much, Justin. And that's just something he's gonna have to deal with. And I know all the off the court stuff. You can't, because he played well against the Lakers. He was the most consistent player outside of Jokic in that series. So I just thought that was a bad matchup for him. I thought it was a really bad matchup for him, where Christian Brown came in and he did well. I thought he did as well as he could have. But we'll see. But yeah, folks, we got the Mavericks and we got the Timberwolves, starting on Wednesday for the Western Conference Finals. Justin and I will touch on that in a quick second once we touch on the Eastern Conference coming up. But we got a quick commercial right now. So tune in real quick and we'll be right back.
This show is brought to you by the Elevate Tour, where Anthony Cotton merges the live music performance in a powerful message in order to inspire students to elevate their mindset and life. If you would like to book Anthony Cotton, visit his website at justsayyes.org/Anthony-Cotton/.
All right, we're back. As always, if you want to book Anthony Cotton for your schools, for great motivational speaking, Justin actually knows Anthony too. But yeah, for your schools or whatever it is, go on and hit Anthony up. His act and what he has and what he's talking about is very positive. I've actually been a part of the shows. I was a backup dancer one time, but that's besides the point. It was pretty fun. Yeah, Justin, you didn't know about that. I got some moves, man.
That's all right. I learned something new every day, so that's good with me.
That's not something I talk about pretty often, but we'll just keep it there. So yeah, y'all book Anthony Cotton. But let's go on and move on to the next topic here. We're talking about the Pacers advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. We saw a lot of grit and what am I trying to say? What's the word I'm trying to use? A lot of grit and perseverance from the Knicks. Okay, a lot of grit and perseverance from the Knicks, but they were just injury plagued this year. Losing Julius Randle, Bojan Bogdanovic, who's a decent off the bench role player. Mitchell Robinson. Who else was there? Oh, OG Anunoby. He came in, knocked his first 2 shots down, then didn't see the game for the rest of the series, for the rest of the game last night. But and then Jalen Brunson goes out and fractures his hand, so Knicks showed up big, showed up tough, but they just could not get over the injury hump mainly. But they had a great season, and the Pacers are a tough team. I think they might not beat Boston, but I think they will give them a run for their money, especially with Boston's inconsistencies against the lesser teams this year. You saw Boston struggle with a injured Cavs team. You saw them struggle with the Miami Heat with one game,
Mhm.
again without Jimmy Butler. So what is your take on this for the Eastern Conference Finals moving forward?
First of all, before we even get to that portion, can we talk about how Indiana was amazing yesterday? They shot
Absolutely.
60. Get this, they shot 68.1%. Now make sure you put the .1 there because that's
Yeah,
NBA history.
yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
best shooting percentage in a single game in NBA playoff history. That's ridiculous. And so you look at what they were able to do. They were able to spread the ball around. Tyrese Halliburton, we take a look at a highlight right there. By the way, if you see a white jersey contesting a shot, please let me know because you're probably wanting these highlights. I mean, wide open spaces. I mean, my goodness, my daughter, she's going to turn 2 in July. She can hit a couple of these baskets because they're so wide open right now. But it just shows just the way that Indiana is able to move their offense around. They're able to get guys open, hit tough contested shots like that as well. Scored 130 points in a Game 7 on the road. That never happens. Never happens in a Game 7. They were able to do so, get out a run, use high tempo in order to get the lead that they had, sustained it throughout the rest of the game. And I'll tell you what, you look at Boston, and they don't have Porzingis for the first 2 games of that series, right? So you look at the first 2 games at home, you're not going to have you're not going to have Porzingis around. So if you're looking at the Pacers and you say, if we could just steal one, and don't get me wrong, the Heat stole one. The Cavs stole one. Both of them stole game 2. If you could go back to Indiana and the series is at 1 apiece, we know how crazy things will be at Indiana, right? So if you could do that and you go and come back to Boston at 2-2 at worst, you have a great chance to win in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not going to put Boston ahead and say that they have an easy road to be able to get to the NBA Finals. I think the Pacers are going to give them everything they can. I love what Halliburton is bringing to the table. I love how they made that trade for Pascal Siakam, and they're being rewarded for that trade as well. The Celtics better be ready to go. They could be in some trouble.
I absolutely agree. And if you look at that game last night, like you said, shooting 68.1%, throughout the whole game, that they were shooting 70% in the first half. So and Pascal Siakam, I didn't have that many highlights of him on here, but he was 5 for 5. He hit his first 5 shots in a row. So, if you have, and again, Pascal Siakam, NBA champion with Toronto, in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard and that Kyle Lowry and them boys. But also, if Porzingis is not healthy, I'm looking at Miles Turner having a better matchup against Al Horford. Al Horford got away with one in that game 5 against Cleveland, having that 25-point game. But wide open. Miles Turner can defend not only in the post, but on the wing.
Well, Aslan, who was it there? Jared Allen didn't play.
Yeah,
Jared Allen didn't play for Cleveland, right? So he's out. So now again, you're talking about your big being out, and now we're going to rely on a mid-30-year-old player to be the big, to go up against one of the better defenders in the NBA. A guy who will also step out and shoot too. Oh, and by the way, he's not afraid to go and guard when your big wants to go and step out of 3 for the Celtics. I mean, it's going to be an interesting series. I think a lot of people will initially look at this and say, Celtics to win this one easily, 5. Maybe they get pushed to 6. I'm here to tell you, Indiana's going to be a problem for them.
Exactly. Especially if Indiana plays with the attitude they did last night. Tyrese Halliburton, he was tapping into his inner Reggie.
He was literally
talking to everybody, talking to Spike. He hits that 3 on DiVincenzo after the Knicks come back. They brought it to within 6. And he comes back, hits a step back 3, and looks at DiVincenzo and says, "Come on, Dante." And let's give DiVincenzo his flowers too. He had an amazing game.
Yes.
But you just tell that the Knicks were beat up last night. But moving forward to the Eastern Conference, I'm right there with you. I do not think that what people are thinking as far as this series is, because Boston's just been kind of rolling through, everybody this year. If the Pacers come out with that attitude that they did last night, and they say it's not a thing, but with playoff TJ McConnell, I really think that they will give the Celtics, and if the Celtics slip up like they did last year against Miami, we will see Indiana in the NBA Finals if the Celtics do not come out and play aggressive as if they have something to prove.
Yeah, Celtics are one of those teams that should have swept the first 2 series, just to be honest. And they're one of those teams that you look at and say, you want to trust them. You want to believe in them. You want to say, hey, they're going to win this one handedly, right? but they're just still that team that you look and say, man, I don't know. Like, for as good as they have been, right? This will be the 6th time they're in the Eastern Conference Finals in the last 8 years. Let's put this into perspective.
Right.
Coming from Denver with the Nuggets, we would love for that team to be able to have that type of streak, right? 6 Western Conference Finals appearances in 8 years. But we're looking at what the Celtics are doing. They are right there. But this is this time where they have to have Jaylen Brown step up. It's time to have the rest of the crew be able to step up. I don't care if Porzingis is there for this series at all, right? You got to have your stars be able to come out and win these games. You got to go and smack Indiana early on. But here's the thing, the Pacers aren't going anywhere. So for Boston, you have rest, right? You were able to go rest your legs. You were able to go and see a team go through a tough 7-game series. But now it's your time to be able to go and step up and do what you have to do. And I would love to see the rest of the guys be able to get it done.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. And this is going to be, like I said, it's going to be more of an interesting series than a lot of people are giving it credit for it right now. But I do have the Celtics winning the series.
Oh, yeah.
I do have the Celtics winning the series, but I do think it's going to be more of it's going to be, like I said, if the Pacers come in with the attitude that we're not backing down from anybody, that mid-90s Indiana culture attitude like they did last night, this is going to be a series. This is going to be, and this is one of those series. I'm like, I don't know if I want to see Kristaps Porzingis come in because, you have the Indiana Pacers riled up. So, will that throw off? And I don't think Boston has really even had a rhythm this whole entire playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think they really have had a rhythm because they're trying to see if Porzingis is going to play. He hasn't played.
Right.
So you're adding him back into something now where you have gotten rhythm. And then it's going to might change up a little bit of things, if you ask me.
I mean, the Celtics have had a rhythm. It's called the cha-cha slide because they've been able to slide through the first 2 teams and have a whole lot of fun. I mean, they haven't been tested at all once.
Right.
They've just been able to boogie their way down the road, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what type of test that Indiana will present to them. I would say the Celtics win this one 6. It's easy to say at 5, but I'll say they win this one in 6. And I think the rest of the crew will be able to go and get this done. Let's not forget, I would think the X factor in this series will be Jrue Holiday and the type of defender that he is. He's also a scorer. You can't forget about Derek White as well. You got some really, really good wing defenders. They should be able to go and take this one. But Indiana can make this very interesting, like we already talked about it. But the team that has the most talent is the team in green and white.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. All right, y'all. So we're going to do one more commercial. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the WNBA start, which I'm super excited. Although Caitlin Clark just got hurt. So we'll keep an eye on that. And but let's do this. And then when we come back, we'll talk about the WNBA.
Rollback Diabetes is a channel and a tool and a platform to provide you access to as much information and resources as possible on how to completely roll back and or manage diabetes better. Marty DeBose hopes to help you change how you think about food in order to make a lasting transformational change in what and how you eat. She wants to also help you all understand the real cause of diabetes and what to eat to reverse and manage it better. If you all would love to find out how to roll back diabetes for those of you all who are diabetics, I would recommend that you go to rollbackdiabetes.com and get all the information that Marty DeBose has on how to roll back diabetes.
All right. Again, for those of you all who have been diagnosed with diabetes or have had pre-diabetic problems or anything like that, go to rollbackdiabetes.com to get more information on how to change your diet that way. That can go away. Okay. It's happened. I've actually been a part of it, so I understand it. So y'all go reach out to Marty DeBose on rollbackdiabetes.com. All right, Justin. So we're going to talk about the WNBA now. All right. We're going to talk about the WNBA. Again, as I stated before we went on break, Caitlin Clark did just go down with the ankle injury. So y'all keep her in prayer. I believe she was saying that it was she was having some ankle tightness before the game during warmups. But it was a weird fall. It was like she stepped weird and just fell to the ground. So we'll keep that updated. And if I find out anything, I'll let y'all know, on the page and everything. But the start of the WNBA has been, I think, in my opinion, this has been the most anticipated WNBA season in a long time, probably since it opened, just because of the one reason is because of the rookie class that we have this year, featuring Caitlin Clark and Camila Cardoza and Angel Reese and Cameron Brink and Deasia Fair, who's with the Las Vegas Aces, and just on top of what already is building with the Las Vegas Aces going back to back, the greatness of Diana Taurasi continuing. So how do you feel about the WNBA this year, Justin?
Well, the first thing is there's more interest more than ever before because of Caitlin Clark. And so 35 of the 40 games will be in national TV. And so when you hear about her being injured, and hopefully it's not too bad. And I'm telling you, advertisers are saying the exact same thing because they understand what type of draw that she is. And she is a draw. I mean, she's starting to learn the game before she got injured. She was just starting to finally, turn the corner a little bit. And I think we forget that. There's not too many teams in the WNBA. I think there's about 128 players in the WNBA. There are players who legitimately go in the first round, top 10 picks, who don't make the roster. That's how competitive it is. And so this is what we're looking at for Caitlin Clark. So really, really pray that she is well, that this injury isn't serious, and she could be able to get back on the court and continue to grow as a player. I would say before we go into deeper within the season of the WNBA, we don't see anything else like this. In the sense of you literally have a team where you have a player in any sport that has finished up their collegiate year, and in 2 months, they're playing professionally.
Right.
Think about that. We don't see that in the NFL. We don't see somebody say, I play in the national championship game, and then 2 months later, I'm starting the season in the NFL. We don't see that in the NBA. We don't see that in any other professional league, right? We don't see that in the NHL, right? And so this is something that I understand why the WNBA is in the type of or in the area of the season of where they are, and I just hope that it will just change a little bit just to be able to give those women some rest in order to properly adjust from the college game to the pros, right? But now since that's over, Cameron Brink, I think like a player like that has been outstanding this year. And this rookie class has been ridiculous. And I absolutely love what we see. I think the biggest thing, though, is this. It's not just a renewed interest in the WNBA, but it's a renewed acknowledgement of the greatness of these players that have already been there and have continued to do great work. The Sabrina Ionescu's, for example, right? Able to see her do some work. You forget it was like, wait, if it's not for COVID, she's winning a national title at Oregon. Right. Because she's that player, right? People say, well, that's him, right? She's her, right? Mm-hmm. These are the type of athletes that are in the WNBA. So it's great to be able to see just these type of athletes go to work, be able to see their games. And I'm so happy that we're able to see them on national TV on a Saturday, just sitting down and relaxing. What do you get? You get a chance to see them play. That's a great thing to see for everyone involved.
Absolutely. And like you just said it too, like Caitlin, the emergence of Caitlin Clark, and just I couldn't imagine that. Just you ain't even really graduated. You saw Angel Reese and them just graduated the other day, while still like coming from college, trying to graduate and then go into the pros. So like you said, we don't see that anywhere else. But I think that with the arrival of Caitlin Clark, it shines on everybody else. Again, Dejanay Carrington. I watched her in college, when she was at Baylor, but I had no idea she was that great of a defender. Like, right. And that I take that responsibility on me, like me just not paying attention to some of the game like that. But watching Dejanay Carrington picking up Caitlin Clark full court the whole entire game, and that was a great welcome to the WNBA for Caitlin Clark. Mm-hmm. She still, but here's the thing, still had 20 points, had 10 turnovers, but still had 20 points. But that just shows the greatness of, Caitlin Clark and what she's bringing to the league, but it's also going to, uplift the greatness of the other players, because they're like, look, we've been here. I mean, you've seen Diana Taurasi. She had some words saying like, hey, you're doing all this against 18-year-olds, but we're playing against grown women who've been doing this for a long time. Mm-hmm. So it brings the competitiveness of the game in the women's division or in the women's league up a notch as well. Because it's just like, okay, we've been begging for this, this attention, begging to get paid what they deserve to get paid. And now you have a player, a generational talent like Caitlin Clark that comes in and brings that national, attention to you. I think you're going to see people that are women that you have not seen ball out, like ball out.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen this many, like you said, 35 of the 45 games are going to be on national television. This is not ESPN right now. This game
Right.
Fever in the Connecticut on ESPN right now. So I'm excited for everything that this league is doing and moving forward. We saw that Golden State is getting their women's league coming soon. And then we also saw, I think it's Toronto that's also getting women's.
Denver's in talks as well. There's Denver's one of the teams being looked at to get a WNBA team, which would be well welcomed. And here's the thing: when you have expansion, the main thing that happens because the WNBA doesn't have an like the G League, for example, for the NBA.
Right.
The more, the merrier. It doesn't water down the product. It allows more great players to be able to be on the court, and that's what we love to see. I mean, you're seeing great highlights. You see it just. Aja Wilson, my goodness, for example, right? Being able to go pull down boards and get buckets and things like that, right? It gives a chance to be able to have a lot of great women basketball players to be able to go and play the game they love in their homeland, right? They don't have to go overseas in order to play. They could play right here. And so my hope is not only that you have an expansion of the season of the teams, but you also have an expansion of the league as well. More people are able to go get more and more money and get paid more. I would love to be able to see that. And so hopefully that something happens in the WNBA. On another side, though, you have to let me know on this one. Is anybody stopping the Aces? Like, honestly, is anybody going to beat the Las Vegas Aces? Because when you look at their roster and the people that they have, the team they have, the women who are just balling out of control in that team. How? Houseway. How are you going to beat that team?
I don't know. It was last year, and here's the thing: Candace Parker got hurt last year, so that was another piece that fit perfectly that wasn't even there, and they still back to back. And so, I know Chelsea Gray is still out. So we're waiting for her to come back. But they picked up two great rookies in Kate Martin out of Iowa and Deasia Fair out of Syracuse. And so I'm like, I don't know. It's just like you're just loaded from top to bottom. You had the previous all-time leading scorer college player in Kelsey Plum.
Oh, Kelsey was amazing.
You have Jackie Young. You still have Asia Wilson, former MVP. Back to back. You have Alicia Clark, who's a dog in her own right. I don't know. I thought that the Liberty were going to be able to give them a run, with Anescu, Jonquil Jones, Breonna Stewart, all those girls up there. But man, I'm looking at this as being the greatest women's dynasty that will ever, from up to this point, ever.
Yeah. We'll see, because I would love to see how the Aces would rival with the Houston Comets, because the Comets had, the first 4 years they won the championship. I mean, they had everybody on that squad, right? And so they were able to go in, win championships. Cheryl Swoops was a part of that team. And so anytime you have a team like that that's put together that wins 4 straight right out the gate, tough team to beat. It's a different game, obviously, but it just shows how great you have to be in order to win a championship and have a dynasty. And it'd be very interesting to see if the dynasty can continue for the Aces. But like you said, look, anything can happen in a season, right? Caitlin Clark hurts her ankle today. Anything can happen with your squad, especially with one of the quality players or your top players on the team. And so the best player is on the Aces in Wilson. So, as long as you have the best player, you have a chance to be able to win a championship all the time.
Absolutely, and I'm right there with you. I don't see anybody beating the Aces. That's just And when I say dynasty and could potentially be one of the greatest dynasty ever, you still got to look at the Minnesota Lynx team when you have Maya Moore, Samantha Augustus, Sylvia Fowles, our hometown hero Shea Kelly was on that squad.
Yes, Shea Kelly, shout out.
Lindsay Whalen, that squad was stacked. I think about that team, and like you said, when the league first got started with the Houston Comets, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, that was
Come on, Cooper, come on, raise the roof.
Man. So when I think about great dynasties, the Sparks had a few good teams when young Candace Parker came in with Lisa Leslie and Then when Lisa left, and Nneka Bumake came in, and you had that 1-2 punch between Candace, and so we've seen amazing teams. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, but I'm excited for the WNBA. Like I really am.
I am too. But let me say this.
Mhm.
Naming off all the players, right? Because as you kept talking, I was like, man, Lisa Leslie, I remember her with Los Angeles with the Sparks. I remember this too, right? I remember Candace Parker as a rookie winning the MVP, right? Not only rookie of the year, but MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows yet again, my God. And I'll say this too. We have missed the boat. Like we have missed so much great basketball for so many years, and that's what the WNBA has had. And so, yes, it's great that more people are taking a look at it right now. More people have an attention with it because of Caitlin Clark. But my goodness, the WNBA for 28 years, it has been great. It has had great basketball players, not good, great basketball players. And my hope is that the interest just doesn't continue this year, but that it continues on for not only decades to come, but generations to come, because there are some tremendous basketball that's being played out there.
Right. You're absolutely right. And, when we get, and then next year, I mean, and I'm thinking about the college, you got Juju Watkins coming up.
Oh, my God.
You got Paige Becker. She could have came this year. She could have came to the draft, but Paige Becker. So the game is still continuing to be in great hands, as Allstate, or is it Allstate, or one of them. So you
just stop briefly with Juju Watkins. She was knocked out. Obviously, UConn beat USC. And by the way, if you want to go and have any type of poll right now, the way that USC has been recruiting through the transfer portal, they were able to get one of the stars from Oregon State to come to the squad. They're going to be good, ladies and gentlemen, to say the least.
I'll be right back.
Juju Watkins, I have a friend who actually broadcasts for the Sparks right now, and he was doing the game where Juju Watkins scored 51 points against Stanford. He told me that there were scouts that were saying that Juju Watkins, as a freshman, could be on the bench in a WNBA roster. Like she could be one of the top bench players on the roster right now. Think about that. At 18, she could be that right now. Just think about how she would be when she continues to grow her game. This is the biggest difference between the NBA and the WNBA. See, usually in the NBA, right, you have somebody who's a sensation, right? They're a really good player. You say they got to get into the NBA right now. I'll give you like a Cody Williams, for example, right? Played basketball at the University of Colorado, but you could just tell he wasn't fully ready yet, but he's going to go in the draft to be a lottery pick, right? He's going to take some time in order for his game to grow and for him to be able to be a playmaker, right? In the NBA. But you think about Juju Watkins, she's going to be able to stay in college, grow her game, mature her game, and she's going to come out ready to go in the WNBA. And she will step in and she'll be one of the top players in the league immediately. She's going to have an impact. That's the difference. You're going to be able to grow and see these young women be able to play. You could be fans of them. You're going to be able to see how they were coming up. And then when they go to the pro game, that's what the NBA is missing a little bit with some of their talent and the youth that they have, is that you're not able to see that again. You're not able to follow a player from day one all the way to professional. You're going to see that with Juju Watkins, and she is going to be amazing. Paige Becker too, right? Paige Becker is going to be amazing. There's just so much talent out there. I feel like I'm just a broken record by saying this over and over again. It is a tremendous league. It is a great league to be able to watch, and it is truly must-see TV, seeing the WNBA.
Yes, man. Like I said, we both sound like broken records. I'm excited. Like, man, I can't wait. Like, I'm just so excited. But real quick, Justin, we're going to just talk about the draft prospects that we have coming up in the NBA draft. Now, a lot of conversation has been around Bronny, of course, but I know you covered the the Mountain West a lot, and some of the Pac-12 as well. In the draft coming up, who do you think would have a definite impact on the team?
Oh, wow. A definite impact? It's tough because this is one of those years where people say it's a very tough draft. And some are saying it's the worst draft. I hate when people say that it's the worst draft since here or whatever. Just because you don't have a LeBron James, you don't have a Wemby coming out like you had last year, doesn't mean it's a bad draft. I will say this, for a draft that was supposed to be bad, Giannis came out in kind of the teams and how was he? Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's been pretty good, right? So you can always find those diamonds in the rough. I will give you one player who I think can be that diamond in the rough, and that's Tristan De Silva. Tristan De Silva. Play for Colorado, 6'8". He could shoot. He could also defend. And for a league that where you got to need those wing defenders, where you need those wing scorers, he's one of those guys who could find himself going from the back end of the draft, and he could hiccup and find himself into a lottery pick. I really, really like him. And I'll be very honest. If you were to say pick, who would you pick, even just on the Colorado Buffaloes roster? Would you pick Cody Williams or will you go with Tristan De Silva? I would go with Tristan De Silva. I think his game is going to mature and grow more. His shot, I trusted that more. And I think he can do a lot of different things on the court in the way that today's NBA game is. So I would just say Tristan De Silva is a guy to really keep an eye on. If he gets on the right team too, he'll be perfect. I mean, unfortunately, for my Nuggets, they only have the 28th pick. So if they were able to find some way how to move up, I don't think it's going to happen. But if he was able to play with a guy like Nikola Jokic, oh my Lord, it would be just ridiculous. But I would say keep an eye on him, a forward from Colorado.
Yeah, man. And I wasn't sure. You can correct me if I was. Did KJ Simpson declare?
Yeah, he came out. You know what they were saying in the combine, that he was one of the high points. As well, really good shooter, distributor as well. The thing is his size. I mean, he's 6 feet tall, 6'1" in shoes, and so we would see what will happen. What team would take a risk on him? But whoever does is going to get themselves a player. Here's another thing, though, and I go back to the Nuggets. Right? You have a first-round pick, and you also have a second-round pick. You need another ball handler. Who else can you go and get? Who's that other ball handler? I know you got Jaden Pickett. You have already drafted him. You're invested into him. Why not KJ Simpson? Why not go and say, let's give this guy a chance to be at least spell a couple of minutes and help out the team? So I think he'll be an interesting pickup.
I do too, and I loved. He was my favorite player to watch in the tournament this year. He was ridiculous. I loved watching KJ Simpson's game. I mean, he can defend. He's strong. He's aggressive. He can score. He had the full package to me. You know what I'm saying? So, that's somebody I would look at for. I would look at, as a major skill if somebody could pick him up. But let's just real quick, Bronny, what's your
Bronny is going to be on somebody's roster.
Yeah.
For some reason, I see just like purple and gold in my eyes for some reason when I think about him. Look, I would say this. There's only 58 players who are drafted.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get the opportunity in order to go into a draft and you get drafted, more power to you. Is he ready to play? I don't think he's ready to play at this level. But it has shown, we have seen a guy like a Peyton Watson, for example, be able to not be able to score a lot and to be able to go and get into, be able to get drafted. I don't foresee him being in the first round. I do foresee him being a second-round player. I do foresee him being a guy who could make somewhat of an impact. He does need time to grow, and that's the main thing is, can he grow? And I get it, man. It's the dream of LeBron James to be able to play with your son, but your son needs some time to continue to grow if he's going to have a long career. And so he will make his hay as a playmaker and also what he can do defensively. And if he could be able to bow himself up defensively, he could find himself a place on the court. There will always be a place on the court for guys who can defend, for guys who can distribute, and for darn sure guys who could be able to score, especially in spots as well. So I think there could be a place for him.
Absolutely. I thought Bronny should have stayed till his junior year. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
First of all, just the health issues, just making sure you're good. And also just making sure you are getting the time that he wasn't even a really main guy on, USC.
Wait, was it really? Really? Homie came off the bench. When
I say really, I'm trying to give him just a little bit of respect just because of the name, but still, wasn't really that guy, at all, right. So I'm watching the games. I'm like, where's Bronny at? But like you said, I think he does need a lot more development, time. And, I've seen some certain scouting reports in the draft combine of, he he looks good. You know, he did some positive things, but then there's a lot of people who are just like, he's just not ready for this level yet, especially, you know, with the type of player that Bronny is. Let's say that the Lakers do pick him up. He's definitely going to be a two-way player. You know, he's going to be in the G League. And if, you know, something happens to come up where he's doing well in the G League, then he'll get, you know, the two-way contract with the Lakers. But, you know, so you have to ask yourself, like, is a team really ready to make that investment G League wise and NBA wise? You know, especially if LeBron is trying to play with Bronny. You know, I'm like, look, hey, Nuggets, go ahead and draft Bronny. You know, LeBron play with his son. He has nothing else to prove.
Right.
Just draft Bronny, sign LeBron to the bare minimum, get you another championship. LeBron plays with his son. We good to go, right?
I would love for that to happen. And you know what? Nuggets fans would also love for that to happen. Just quickly. Can you imagine as my son is running out the door? Come over here, boy. No, come here now. Come on. No. If you want to be here, come over here. You're in the show. Sit on down. Watch your daddy. This is my son, Alexander, by the way. Can you turn around and say hello? Hi. All right. That's my son, Alexander. Can you imagine LeBron James, his IQ, his passing ability, with Nikola Jokic, his IQ, his passing ability? And I get it. LeBron is, 58 years old. But just be able to have those two guys on the court would be ridiculous. Mama Bear's calling. I love you.
Yeah, that would be without a doubt. I mean, that's an automatic championship. I'm sorry, like
right. It would be. It honestly would be.
You are set for life. Take the minimum. All right,
right.
Denver. Okay, y'all done lost to us 2 years in a row. You almost swept. You only got one game in the last 11. Just come and join. You didn't know where you joined Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and them.
Right.
When Cleveland bought all of them, just come to Denver real quick.
Come on home.
And then
we'll take care of you.
It's a family affair. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
It's
like, I mean, let's be honest. If we could call it what it is, everybody else from California is moving to Denver. Why don't you from California move to Colorado? I mean, there's room for you. Even though our housing prices are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Thank you, California.
You can afford it. You're good. You're good for life. Nothing else you need to prove. Just get you one more ring. Okay.
That's Prime. Deion Sanders came out here. You got Prime Time out here. You got other guys here too, Come on, LeBron. Make your way out here, man. We'll take care of your son. We'll set up that 2-year deal. And then once you retire, we will properly trade him away. Like, that's what we'll do, man. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you.
Cleveland, let him finish one game in Cleveland, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but it's gonna be an interesting draft, like you said. There's always diamonds in the rough. We see the last 3 out of 4 MVPs, 41st pick in the draft. It looks like nobody knew Jokic was gonna be this way. Like nobody knew this. Nobody saw this. So I'm excited for the draft, but. Man, Justin, I appreciate you so much for coming on, man. Like it's been a blessing, and again, we'll have to have you back on sometime soon. But I appreciate you. And was there anything that you wanted to say before you get off?
Man, before I do run, always be sure to follow me online, Justin Adams TV. Again, Justin Adams TV. You can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. Hit me up, man. Follow me. I'll follow you right back. And long and short of it, man, love God, love people. I'm on CBS Colorado from 3:30 in the morning to noon, doing my thing there in the morning show. And so just be able to join us there. Let's have a conversation. Let's have fun talking sports, man. We can change the way that the dialogue is without sports, man. I mean, even though we're hurting right now, man, we don't live and die by this, man. It's just something to be able to have fun with, but it's not the end all be all. So love God, love people, man, and live your life to serve others, man. That's gonna be pretty cool.
Absolutely, and that's what it says. Like you said, go follow him on Justin Adams TV. And Justin, man, I appreciate you. Justin's from the same cloth I'm from, Montbello. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. Side note. Let me say this, and I want to say this publicly. Brother, I'm so proud of everything that you're doing, man. I saw the commercials. I'm like, look at this guy. You've been able to, you wanted to do the show for a long time. You have been faithful with it. Stay faithful, my brother. Stay faithful with this. Continue to go on. You will continue to grow and improve as a broadcaster. Your skills will always get better. Continue to do so. And yeah, God will definitely go in and he will honor the work of your hands. Like that's the main thing. He honors the diligence. He will honor the work of your hands. So stay encouraged. I got to get a book. I got to get some of that apparel, man. I'm going to go, go on maybe I have to cut a couple of extra, yards out here just to get some money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to hook you up, man. We're definitely going to make it happen.
Look, I'm going to be out there with you, Sue. I'll be out there with you, but my man, thank you so much. That's really encouraging. I appreciate that. And look, man, when I called you and told you, I said, hey, man, this is what I want to do now. And I was serious about it. So, I thank you for that and for, seeing, the work that I have been doing and putting into this. And so, but like you said, God is faithful. And, before we, close out, as always, as I like to say, first of all, go follow Justin Adams TV. Go follow him, support him. He has a lot of stuff going on in all different fields, not just basketball. He's doing football and everything. So if you're a football fan, go follow Justin. If you like sports, just go follow Justin. All right. I'm sticking to what I know, which is basketball. All right. But Justin's very well rounded. And but as always, like I like to say, God loves y'all tremendously. I thank y'all for coming on to this show. This is the longest show I've done, but it was such a great show. I'm super excited. And it's just going to keep going up for here. So I appreciate all of y'all's support. Again, go over to the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook, whatever it might be, go follow and go subscribe to Spell Basketball Show. We're gaining momentum. And so all glory to God. He's the one who makes me. Without him, I am nothing. So I appreciate y'all. And Justin, again, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. And y'all have a great day. All right. This is Aslan with Spell Basketball with the stats, the facts, and all that. I'll see y'all later. All right.
Salute.